The mark of the beast in Revelation has always been a topic of much controversy, and many have attempted to explain what the mark is and how it will affect us here in the last days. The video you are watching may challenge some of your beliefs about the mark, but my prayer is that this video will bring some clarity to what Yochanan, John, was telling us in Revelation. Now, the content of this video may be a lot to take in for some people, so I'm giving this as a forewarning. The information in this video is deep and may be shocking to some people. Now, the mark is mentioned in Revelation 13, verses 16 through 18. And he causes all, both small and great, and rich and poor, and free and slave, to be given a mark upon their right hand or upon their foreheads, and that no one should be able to buy or sell except he that has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom, he who has understanding. Let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Before I go into a great deal about the passages we just read, let me read the other passage in Revelation that the mark is mentioned. This will validate the revelation of the mark that this video will show. Ḥazon, Revelation 16:2. And the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and an evil and wicked sword came up upon the men, those having the mark of the beast, and those worshiping his image. Okay, now let's go back to chapter 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, and rich and poor, and free and slave, to be given a mark upon their right hand or upon their foreheads. A lot of times translators will use the most common word in a passage to translate it because the odds of it being correct is much higher. And if you do not fully understand the point being made, it can be the logical choice. Let's look at the common Greek translation and the words used in this passage. Notice in this passage from Bible Hub's Interlinear, it says, it should give them a mark on the hand of them right, or on the forehead of them. The word for hand is Greek Strong's 5495, which means a hand, figuratively, the instrument a person uses to accomplish their purpose, intention, or plan. The word is cheer. The word for right in this passage is Greek Strong's 1188 dexios, which can mean right hand or right side. The right hand or the right side is used a lot in Scripture to refer to Yahweh. Hebrews 1:13. And to which of the messengers did he ever say, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet? Tehillim, Psalms 63:8. My being has closely followed you, your right hand did uphold me. Tehillim, Psalms 89:13. You have a mighty arm, your hand is strong, your right hand exalted. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 41:13. For I, Yahweh your Elohim, am strengthening your right hand, saying to you, do not fear, I shall help you. There are many more passages that we can show this reference, but for this study, we just want to show how the right side is in reference to the Most High. Now this all will come to make sense in just a moment. So the next word I want to show is forehead in this passage. The word is Greek Strong's 3359, which can mean forehead or after the eye. It comes from two words, meta, which is Greek Strong's 3326, and the word ops. The word meta has the meaning of with, among, or after, and the word ops has the meaning of eye, like in the word cyclops. So together it has the meaning of with the eye. Okay, now that we understand the words for forehead that can mean with the eye or of the eye, let's look at the word for on in this passage. It is Greek Strong's 1909 epi. The word epi can mean on or upon, but it also can mean against, as used in Luke 12:52. Now notice in this passage from Bible Hub, interlinear for the word epi, it is used as against. There will be from now 5 in one house divided, 3 against epi, 2, and 2 epi against 3. So now let's look at the passage in Revelation 13:16 using this new understanding. It causes all the small and the great and the rich and the poor and the free and the servants that they should give them a mark against the right hand of them or against the eye of them. This wouldn't normally make sense, but we have seen this in Scripture before. 1 Samuel 11:1, and Luqas the Ammonite came up and camped against Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said to Luqas, "Make a covenant with us, and we shall serve you." Then Luqas the Ammonite answered them, "For this I make a covenant with you, that I dig out all your right eyes, and I shall bring reproach on all Yisrael." The left eye, as we have shown in our In God They Trust video, represents Hashatan. So when Luqas the Ammonite said this, it was for Israel to give allegiance to the serpent, aka Satan. The word for Luqas in this passage is Hebrew Strong's 5176, Luqas, which comes from Greek Strong's 5175, which means serpent. As you can see so far, the mark will blind the right eye, just like the serpent wanted to gouge out the eyes of the Israelites in 1 Samuel. But now let's look at the word for "it should give" in Revelation 13:16. The word "it shall give" is the word dosin in this passage. It is where we get the word dose from in Greek. The word in Strong's is 1325, didomi, which means to give, I offer, I put, or I place. Look at the etymology of the word from Wiktionary, and it will show that the word has the meaning of a measured portion of medicine taken at any one given time. As you can see, the mark is a dose of medicine that is against the right hand and the right eye. So this explains what the mark does, but what is the mark? In this passage, the word for mark is Greek Strong's 5480, charigma, which means a stamp or an impress. This also can mean a brand or a mark. So obviously, this is to identify the one that has taken the dose of medicine as mentioned before. It also says that without this mark or dose of medicine, you will not be able to buy or sell, Revelation 13:17, and that no one should be able to buy or sell except he that has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now in the next verse, it gives us a riddle to understanding what the mark is. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The first sentence gives us a reference to Solomon, as his many proverbs use the same phraseology. MISHLÊ, Proverbs 1:2, for knowing wisdom and discipline, for understanding the words of understanding. Proverbs 2:6, for Yahuwah gives wisdom, out of his mouth come forth knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 3:13, blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. Proverbs 4:5, get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget, and do not turn away from the words of my mouth. Proverbs 4:7, the beginning of wisdom is, get wisdom, and with all your getting, get understanding. Now here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now you understand the reference to Solomon, who was, by the way, given 666 talents of gold every year. 1 Kings 10:14, and the weight of gold that came to Solomon yearly was 666 talents of gold. Okay, by now you are probably saying to yourself, I've heard this reference to Solomon 1,000 times. What I want to show you is why he is referenced. But before we get into that, let's go back to the math problem that Yochanan John gave us when he said, calculate the number. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The words used for 666 is the Greek letters chi, xi, stigma. Chi is normally referenced as the number 600, and xi represents 60, and stigma represents the order of 6. Out of all the letters in chi, xi, stigma, the letter chi did not come from a Phoenician letter, and it was added like the letters omega and psi. I'll leave a link to the Greek alphabet in the description. Plato described the letter as a symbol in Timaeus. In Plato's Timaeus, it is explained that the two bands that form the soul of the world crossed each other like the letter X. Plato's analogy, along with several other examples of chi as a symbol, occur in Brown's discourse, The Garden of Cyrus, in 1658. From this compound, one substance resulted, the world's soul. He then divided following precise mathematical proportions, cutting the compound lengthways, fixed the resulting two bands in the middle, like the letter chi, and connected them at their ends, having two crossing circles. This comes from wikipedia.org, Timaeus. Timaeus is one of Plato's dialogues, mostly in the form of long monologues given by Critias and Timaeus, and it was written in 360 BC. Plato's description of the letter chi would inspire Platonic solids, and eventually Euler would write the Euler characteristic for the letter chi. As you can see in this chart, the Euler characteristic is described as x equals v minus e plus f. This comes from MathVault. I'll leave the link in the description. The Euler characteristic is described as x equals v minus e plus f, or chi equals v minus e plus f, which is really interesting because chi, xi, stigma has the components of this equation, because the letter stigma is the addition of two Greek letters, sigma and tau, and it is in the same position as the e plus f in the formula. So this formula would then look like this. Chi equals xi minus sigma plus tau, or x equals 60 minus 200 plus 300. And the answer to this equation is x equals 160, which in Greek letters is Pe, or rho xi, which when translated to English we get Rx. Rx is another name for a prescription, like the medical dose given in Revelation 13:16. But where does the word Rx come from? This is a quote from history.com. Commonly seen on doctors' prescription pads and signs in pharmacies, Rx is a symbol for medical prescription. According to most sources, Rx is derived from the Latin word recipe, meaning take. Among several alternate theories, however, it is the belief that the Rx symbol evolved from the Eye of Horus, an ancient Egyptian symbol associated with healing powers. Quote, "The sign is formed by a line across the right foot of the letter R. It represents the word prescription. It has come to mean take this medicine. This sign has beginnings 5,000 years ago in Egypt. At that time the people prayed to Horus, the god of the sun. It was said that when Horus was a child, he was attacked by Seth, the demon of evil. The evil Seth put out the eye of the young Horus. The mother of Horus called for help. Her cry was answered by Thoth, the god of learning and magic. Thoth, with his wisdom and special powers, healed the eye of Horus, and the child was able to see again." As a symbol, the eye of Horus features a prominent eyebrow and markings that some historians think were stylized after the actual eyes of falcons or hawks. Horus totemic birds, amulets in the shape of the eye of Horus, date back at least 3000 BC. They were often crafted from a blue-green ceramic called faience, and were sometimes called widget eyes, a word that comes from the Egyptian for made whole, which is fitting for the Horus eye. The ancient Egyptian eye of Ra, which some identify as Horus's right eye, is closely related in symbol and design and meaning. Horus' eye is always represented as the left eye, and we have seen the left eye in our previous study of In God They Trust. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave the link in the description. It shows that Odin lost his right eye to keep an eye on the world. We showed that the letter Gaian dropped off of the Hebrew Aleph Bet when he fell. So let's look back at chapter 16 and see how it shows further proof of this. Revelation 16:2, and the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and an evil and wicked sore came upon the men, who's having the mark of the beast, and those worshiping his image. Revelation has 22 chapters that coincide with the odiote of the Hebrew letters. We have shown this in our video of the hidden message in Revelation 2. If you haven't seen that video, we will leave a link in the description. Now, according to the odiote of the Hebrew letters, chapter 16 is the Hebrew letter Ayin, which is a picture of the eye. Now, here is wisdom, here is understanding. King Solomon went after the other gods of his countless wives, including his Egyptian wives that worshipped Horus, the one-eyed god of healing, the eye that become the all-seeing eye that is associated commonly with King Solomon. It is called the eye of providence. But wait, there is further proof. Revelation 18:23, and the light of the lamp shall not shine in you any more at all, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall not be heard in you any more at all. For your merchants were the great ones of the earth, for by your drug sorcery all the nations were led astray. The word used for drug sorcery in this passage is Greek Strong's 53:31, pharmakeia, which is where we get the word pharmacy, which is represented by the symbol RX, which is the eye of Horus. But they also use the symbol of the caduceus, which is a picture of Hermes' staff that is widely used in medicine, and Hermes is the Greek equivalent to Odin, the one-eyed god, which we have shown as Gadriel, who deceived Eve in the garden, and his name starts with the letter Gaian shown here, which is the same symbol of the staff that Hermes carried. Notice in Revelation 16:2 that an evil and wicked sore came upon the men. Could this be a reaction to medicine that they were given when they took the mark? Earlier we showed that chi stigma equals 160 in the formula for Platonic solids. Now let's look at the shape that has 160 diagonals. A dodecahedron has 160 diagonals as shown here. Here is another image from Wikipedia. Here are some more images where you find the dodecahedron. Mattithyahu, Matthew 6:22. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? The word for light is Aleph Waresh, which is a picture of Father Yahuwah connected to man. It is the Kodesh spirit of Yahuwah that restrains evil in this world. It is the voice of reason that convicts us When you are filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, you are full of the light of Elohim. This is the body enlightened in Matthew 6:22. But if the eye is evil, like the one that the medicine in Revelation causes, then the whole body shall be full of darkness. The mark will render the taker of it blind, just like the sons of Belial wanted to do long ago. The word for blind in Hebrew is Gayin Waresh. It is spelled with the ayin in modern Hebrew, but was once pronounced Gor. Once a person accepts the mark of the beast, they become spiritually blind. This is a separation from the Kodesh spirit of Yahweh. For now the light has been changed into blindness. This coincides with what Yochanan wrote in Revelation, if you use the word epi for against. Revelation 13:16, and it causes all the small and the great and the rich and the poor and the free and the servants, that it should give them a mark against the right hand of them or against the eye of them. But if your eye is evil, all your body shall be darkened. If then the light that was within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Notice that this is the 23rd verse, and the letter Gayin is the 23rd letter that was the left eye to ayin before it fell. Once the mark is accepted by those who will take it, it will change them. The Ruach HaKodesh will no longer retain the evil of mankind. This is the sword of the red horse that will bring about the slaughter of mankind. The word Gor, that means blinded by the eye of Horus, but it also means bloodshed and slaughter. 2 Thessalonians 2:7, for the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now retains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. When the mark is taken, the one who retains the Ruach HaKodesh shall come out of the midst of them, and we are seeing the beginnings of this now. And heinous crimes are becoming more frequently and more violent. The evil ones know of this coming sword and have declared it right in the face of us all. Constantine was a sun god worshipper and claimed to have seen the symbol of Cairo in the sun. This has become the symbol for Christianity, but was not always a Christian symbol before Constantine's time. It was the eye of Horus, the sun god in ancient Egypt, as shown on Ptolemy III Euergetes coin in the year 246 to 221 BC, more than 500 years before Constantine used this symbol. Notice the Cairo symbol in this image is the eye of Horus. The front side of this coin shows the face of Zeus, and the back side has an eagle with the eye of Horus between its legs. Notice in this picture of the Cairo, the S wrapping around the vertical pole. This is the astrological sign of the serpents, the symbol of the serpent healers. Quote, the Cairo symbol has pre-Christian connection and is believed to have been revered by the pagan Greeks as a representative of good fortune. Pagan Greek scribes used the symbol in the margin to mark passages they considered especially significant or relevant, with the letters chi and rho denoting Christon, that means good. The sign has also been found on the coins of Ptolemy III in 246 to 222 BCE. This is from ancientsymbols.com. Notice you can see the symbol at the Vatican. Quote, in Pagan Origins of the Christ Myth, John G. Jackson proposed that the Cairo was of Egypt origin, which he based on the work of Sir Flinders Petrie, who stated that the monogram Chi-Rho was an emblem of the Egyptian god Horus thousands of years before Christ. This comes from atina.wordpress.com. Notice the two twisted ropes at the bottom right-hand corner of this picture of Horus. This is a quote from aljazeera.com. The CV is a kind of watershed event for surveillance. Firstly, it's spreading everywhere with the disease, and secondly, we are seeing a change in the nature of surveillance from over-the-skin surveillance to under-the-skin surveillance. Over-the-skin surveillance is the things that we do, where we go, who we meet, and what we watch on television. We know that for years corporations and governments have been developing the abilities, the technological tools to monitor what we do, and this gives them a lot of insight into our political views, our preferences, even our personalities. What is happening now is that surveillance is beginning to go under the skin, revealing not just what we do, but how we feel. Of course, it is at the moment focused on the disease itself in order to know whether we are sick. These surveillance systems need data about what is happening inside our bodies, our body temperature, maybe our blood pressure, perhaps our heart rate. All these can be used to establish our medical condition. This is an article from DARPA on in vivo nano platforms. The in vivo nano platforms IVN program supports military readiness through the development of in vivo sensing technologies and therapeutics that facilitate optimal health and performance in an individual warfighter. The program pursues technologies that provide early indication of physiological abnormalities or illnesses that can be proactively addressed with therapeutics or supportive care. In other words, they can inject this into your body, this nanotechnology, that they can monitor your body, and not only monitor, but send and receive information to you. I know this is a lot to take in, but they have always put their plans in plain sight, and Hashatan wants to be all-seeing. So in order to see all that a person does, the surveillance has to go under the skin. And they have spelled this out to us. And let's look at where. Opening the door was the beginning. Delta was the very beginning. Delta in Hebrew is the dalet, which means door. Omicron in Hebrew is the ayin, which means the eye. Notice together it forms the all-seeing eye. Hashatan wants to be omnipresent because only Yahuwah is omnipresent. Revelation 18:23, and the light of a lamp shall not shine in you any more, and the voice of a bridegroom and the bride shall not be heard in you any more at all. For your merchants were the great ones of the earth, for by their drug sorcery all the nations were led astray. John 6:6. And at that time many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. They have even spelled it out to us on their coins. Notice the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the symbol of Horus, shown as the symbol of Chi-Rho or RX, just like Ptolemy III's coin. The medicine, as mentioned in Revelation 13:16, drips down. It then forms structures, otherwise known as surveillance under the skin. Vital signs are monitored and sent. It's sent up by binary code via the satellite, all making peace with Saturn, aka Satan, the same treaty of the sons of Belial, to gouge out the right eye of the Israelites. Then Luqas the Ammonite answered them, For this I make a covenant with you, that I dig out all of your right eyes, and I shall bring reproach on all Yisrael. This coin has the information in the shape of a sword, and this is exactly what it is. Ḥazon, Revelation 6:4. And another horse, fiery red, came out, and it was given to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, that they should slay one another, and a great sword was given to him. Luke 12:51. Do you think that I came to bring peace on earth? I say to you, no, but rather division. From now on, 5 in one house shall be divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. Father shall be divided against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. The word used in this passage for against is 1909 epi. When used in Revelation 13:16, we get the understanding. And it causes all the small and the great and the rich and the poor and the free and the servants that it should give them a mark against the right hand of them or against the eye of them. Do not accept the mark, for once you do, you forfeit your right eye, the good eye that is connected to Yahweh. Once a person takes the mark, the lamp of the Ruach will no longer be seen in them, for they will be disconnected from the Kodesh spirit and connected to the evil spirit of Hashatan, the left eye. I tell you all of this, family, as a warning, because the time is near. So fill your lanterns with oil, so that you become a son of light, so that the Ruach, when it's taken away, the light will burn in you. For once it is gone, it will be too late to find oil to fill your lamp. With much love, I tell you this. May the Father of lights, Yahweh, bless you and keep you. Shalom.